Hi and welcome to a new video. Today I am going to give you my top 23 countries which I have visited. So here are the countries I have been to. There are 22 and you're probably wondering why it's 24, so I'll explain that now. So I'm going to wipe off Luxembourg because when I was younger we were driving to France and we went through Luxembourg and I don't actually remember it, but I know I've been there because I was told by my parents. And I remember them saying to me that in Luxembourg we went into a service station and we said, where are we basically? And they were like, you're in Luxembourg. But because I don't remember it and I've only driven through, we were only there for like 20 minutes, that one's going. Now also, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to class the UK as 4 separate countries, even though I know it's not. We are internationally recognised as the UK and we have one government for the whole UK. But for this video, they are separate entities. I'm going to scratch off England because I live in England and I think it's unfair to put my own country there because I've experienced a lot of good and bad and a lot more in England than the other countries. So I just think it's a bit unfair to put the place where I live there. Okay, let's start. So in 24th is Northern Ireland. Now I did really enjoy my trip there. We did all the main things like Titanic Museum and Giant's Causeway, and there was a rope bridge which is a tourist hotspot, but I just don't feel like it's that special. It felt like I was in England whilst I was there, even though I wasn't, and I don't think it's different enough to be higher up. The whole of Ireland, as a general rule, is a lot less densely populated than Great Britain, consisting of Scotland, Wales and England, and I just felt like there wasn't really much there because my parents were in their 40s when they went to Northern Ireland. That was the first time they'd actually been to either Northern Ireland or Ireland. So it just shows that it's not really the place that a lot of people go to when they want a nice holiday. But it was still a good trip. 23rd is Spain. Now, it's a bit like Northern Ireland. It didn't feel that unique. It is where a lot of people go on holiday just for a beach holiday in the summer, and I don't really like doing that. I prefer to be active and doing stuff whilst holiday, such as canoeing, hiking, skiing, cycling. And it was also really busy. I just felt that there were too many people there going on holiday. I've only been twice though, so I've not got that good a representation. I went to San Sebastian, which is a city in the north, and also Lanzarote, and I still, again, really enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoy going anywhere. 22nd is Portugal. Now, I went there when I was very young, and I do remember it. I remember being there, and what our accommodation looked like. But, a bit like Spain, I just felt it was where people want to go when they want a summer holiday, and it just was too beachy in a way, and there was nothing unique about it. 21st is Scotland. Now, Scotland is a nice place, but it was just a bit miserable. We were in Aviemore in August, and the mountains were very bleak, they were very desolate. It was very misty, it was very foggy, and this was August we were on about, and it just wasn't very, it just didn't feel very happy, if you sort of see what I'm saying. 20th is Wales. Now, I've been to Wales loads. I think I went to Wales like 6 times last year or something, because it's quite close to where I live. And there's a lot to do there. There's walking in Snowdonia, lots of great coastal towns. But the issue is, because I've been there so many times, I don't feel like I'm on holiday when I'm there. I feel sort of at home, if that makes sense, because it is very similar to England, and obviously because I've been there so many times. 19th is France. Now, I was originally going to put France a lot lower down, but with France, I've just done a canoeing trip to the Dordogne, and I really enjoyed it. The hills by the river were amazing, and it was just an overall relaxing experience, and there were loads of beautiful towns you pass through. But there are a lot of things I don't like about France. Firstly, that they don't do gluten-free food, and they think people that are intolerant to gluten have a psychological disease, actually, because their wheat is grown with less pesticides on, so less people there are gluten-free, and because they don't know any French people that are gluten-free, they don't do any gluten-free food, and they just think it's a psychological condition that you don't want to eat it. And they eat lots of bread and croissants, and they're fine. And they don't really cater for me, unfortunately. And also, French people don't really know English. You go into a shop, a cafe, a restaurant, and they don't know any English. In every other European country, you could go there and go into a shop or anything, and they'll speak good enough English to have a conversation with you. But unfortunately not in France. So, in 17th is Germany. Now, I quite like Germany. I've been to Berlin and Dusseldorf. I wasn't in Dusseldorf for very long though, but it's just your average European country. It doesn't feel different to anywhere else in Europe, and that's probably why it's not higher up. In 16th is Belgium. Now, Belgium's good. I kind of like the architecture style. Dutch and Belgium architecture is something that's very set to them, and it does look very nice. And I cycled through Belgium, and I've also been to Bruges, and the cycle routes were lovely and flat, like the Netherlands. We cycled along this river, and it had trees on either side and a path on either side, and it was straight for ages, and it was very, very pleasant. 15th is Denmark. Now, I went to Copenhagen, and it was a very clean city, and it was very green. They said it was one of the greenest cities in Europe, and it has a lot of good touristy things to do, and the people there were really nice and informative and helpful, and I quite like Scandinavia, so Denmark's a good one. 14th is Italy. Now, I went to Italy once when I was younger. We stayed in a campsite near Venice, and we went to Venice, and Venice is amazing. It's not like anywhere else in the world, and maybe Italy's not the place to go at the moment because of the coronavirus. I don't think anywhere will be soon, but when I went to Italy, the coronavirus wasn't there, and I did really enjoy it. 13th is Czechia, which is its name now on Google. It is the Czech Republic before, and a lot of people do still call it that. And I quite like Eastern Europe. I quite like Prague. There was a lot to do there. It was a pleasant city. The people were nice. The food was nice. I had a baby pig, roasted baby pig, which was a very nice, unique Czech meal, and I did enjoy it. 12th is Poland, and Poland, there's not that much touristy stuff there unless you go to Krakow and Auschwitz, which is what we did. And when we were driving from Krakow to Auschwitz, it was about a 1.5 hour drive from memory, and you just saw these lovely farms that looked peaceful and typical Polish style buildings in the countryside, and rural Poland seems like quite a nice place to be. 11th is Austria. Now, I went skiing in Austria, and the mountains were absolutely incredible. There were some lovely views, and I also went skiing in Switzerland, but I think when you're at the top of the mountain, the highest point you could get at the ski resort, I think the views in Austria top that of Switzerland. So that's why Austria's 11th. 10th is Finland. Now, I went to Lapland, and that is the place that every child would want to go to. There were loads of winter activities there and stuff there that I would have probably never done in my life if I didn't do it there. We went on a sleigh across a frozen lake being pulled by reindeers. Sounds a bit like what Santa does, but they didn't fly. We went on skidoos as well. We did all the normal wintry stuff like sledging and stuff, and it was just a unique Christmassy place. 9th is Singapore. And Singapore is a very important city. It has a lot of skyscrapers. It speaks English, which is a plus. It's very modern, very developed. It's very clean because they have the no chewing gum rule, no pigeon feeding rule. And all the taxi drivers there were very, very nice. I recall one guy that spoke to us for ages, and he kind of really liked me because I was English, and he was really kind of thought he was really grateful that there was an English person in his taxi, and his name was actually Ten Chin Hyup, and I actually remember that because he was going on about doing 10 chin-ups. 8th is Sweden, and Sweden is well, Stockholm, which is where I went, is a very good city. It's not busy, it's not crowded, and that's the thing. A lot of these big cities in Europe, such as Paris, Rome, they're really, really busy with tourists, but Sweden was quiet, it was peaceful, and also Swedish people are very, very nice. 7th is the UAE. Now, I went to Dubai quite recently, and it's very built up, and a lot of people think the fact it's so built up is a bad thing, and they go, oh, well, it's all man-made, you know, but personally, I don't see that as a bad thing. What humans can do is shown there. They've got the highest building in the world, the biggest kind of man-made island. They've got the world, of course, which is all islands. They've got the fastest roller coaster. It's just spectacular what humans can do. 6th is Russia. Now, when we went to St. Petersburg, and when we were going through Russia, you could just see by the buildings, it was very typical communist buildings. It looked very poor, but there was also the great palaces there, and the great churches and temples, which were fantastic, really. It was a great experience. And the amount of gold they had in the rooms, the amount of paintings they had, scattered all over the walls and on the ceilings, the artwork was amazing. And it was a very, very unique experience. And that's why the Spain, the Portugal, the Northern Ireland, the France, the Germany are so low down and Russia so high up. Just because it was unique. It didn't feel like anywhere where I'd been before. 5th is Canada, and we went to Vancouver and Vancouver Island, and it was just very, very good. It was peaceful. There were loads of good walking routes you could do on Vancouver Island, and there was loads of wildlife watching you could do. I think we went on a whale watching tour, and it was just stuff you couldn't really do elsewhere, and the ruralness of it, the massive trees, just felt like you were in a movie, basically. 4th is Estonia. Now, a bit like Russia, I liked Estonia just because it's so different. The old town had all these uniquely built, I've used the word unique so many times in this video, it had all these uniquely built like churches and spires, and walking through the old town, it was just so medieval, if you want, and it just felt like you were somewhere where you wanted to be. 3rd is Switzerland. Now, I know I said the top of the Austrian mountains were better than the top of the Switzerland mountains, but Switzerland has a lot of other things I really like. I've been to Zurich, and that is probably one of my favourite cities, just because they did a lot of gluten-free food. They had a lot of supercars there. Like, we were walking around, and like one in every 3 cars was either like a Maserati or a Porsche, a Ferrari or a Tesla, and it just felt so clean there. And also the skiing, there's a lot more. In the ski resort we went to, and I'm non-biased because I've not been to every ski resort, there were a lot more routes than the Austrian ski resort, and it was a lot easier to get around them. Like, we went to other resorts that were over a mountain and then up another one, but because of good transport links in Switzerland, that was possible, unlike in Austria. So that is why it is 3rd. The ski routes are are very good as well. And coming back to the transport, the trains always run on time in Switzerland, and there's always a train or a cable car or a funicular where you want to go. It's just incredible how they can run the trains so smoothly without any sort of half-hour delays. And also, this did annoy me a bit at the time, but the buses as well. The bus came 5 minutes early, everyone got on, and it was full, but the driver did not leave. He had to wait at the stop until the time, exactly the time when he must leave, because he had to be at all stops at exactly the same time. In the UK, if a bus is full, the bus driver would probably drive on, but not in Switzerland. So that meant that you could rely on the transport in order to plan your day. So if you knew the buses would come at such a precise time, and they get to your destination at such a precise time, you can plan. So I'm going to get this bus, and then I'll definitely be able to make this cable car to get up to the ski routes. In second is the Netherlands. Now, I really enjoyed the Netherlands. We cycled across the country, going from Amsterdam to the Belgian border, and I didn't really see any kind of poverty or any bad areas that looked poor in the Netherlands. And also, Amsterdam is amazing with all the little canalways. It's just not like anywhere else. It's not like any of the other big European cities. And also the canals and the rivers weren't just an Amsterdam thing. They go across the whole country, and a lot of people's houses had kind of moats. And there was water running through all the villages. So you'd be on a road and there'd be water on either side. And it just looked peaceful seeing all that water. Now, first is Iceland. Now, Iceland is my favourite ever country, and it will always be my favourite ever country. It's got a small population, but that doesn't matter. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because they're still good at stuff. And Reykjavik is an amazing city. The people are so nice. I did not meet an Icelandic person that did not speak English and that wasn't nice to me. They're also caring and hospitable at restaurants, and they're always really helpful. I recall going to... So basically, we were in a hotel and there was a football pitch nearby. So we went to the football pitch just to have a nosy. And then this guy came up to us, and he was so passionate about that football club. He was going on about how his son wanted to play for them when he was older, how they went into the Europa League qualifiers, and he watched that game and he remembered the game that they were kicked out of the Europa League, and he knew all about their history and what position they'd finished in the league for like the past 10 seasons. He knew loads of Icelandic footballers, and he was going on about them. He probably knew more than I did about them, and I had probably about a half-hour conversation with him about football. And at a football club in England, they wouldn't do that. They'd probably be annoyed with you that you were wandering around the facility of a football club. And also, his other son, it was a handball club as well, and they do a lot of handball in Iceland, and his other son was playing handball, and he literally invited us in, and we watched his son play handball for about 20 minutes, and he was so nice to us, and he was pointing out, he was saying, so my son's there, and he was explaining the rules to handball to us, and all of that was free. You normally have to pay to do things like that. Also in Iceland, the food was really, really nice. They did gluten-free food everywhere, and the shops that sold tourist things. I wanted an Icelandic football shirt because I went through a really, really weird phase of collecting football shirts wherever I went. I've not done that many because it got too expensive, and I don't know why I wanted an Iceland one, because they beat us, and they will do again when we play them in the Nations League, because we're drawing against them in the next Nations League. And basically, they didn't have my size in stock, so the lady in the shop called loads of other shops to ask if they had it in stock, and when they didn't, she honestly looked like she was about to cry. That just shows how nice Icelandic people are. And we did loads of tours, and all the tour guides were immensely friendly. They answered all of our questions really well. They were knowledgeable, they were passionate about Iceland. it didn't feel as though they were just doing it because it was their job. And some of the things we saw on the tours were amazing. All the volcanic stuff, the waterfalls, the hot pools that you can sit in. It's just, you can't really get that elsewhere. You just can't. And we also went inside a glacier and went inside a volcano, and those two places were the only places in the world where you could do those things. And that just shows how, like I said at the start, I like unique things. That just shows how unique Iceland really is. And the only bad thing is it's so expensive, but I mean, it's a really good country, and that's why it's expensive, because it's good. Also in Iceland, they're quite healthy as well, because they have no McDonald's, which is a big plus. Instead, they have loads of local businesses that are selling their own unique Icelandic things, and I think going to small businesses is better than just going to McDonald's. So, I think that concludes my video. I hope you found it interesting, and hopefully I will see you in another video. I have done videos on quite a lot of these countries on my channel, so instead of me having to find them all and link them all, just look on my channel. I've done one of Iceland, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Estonia, Russia, the UAE, Sweden, Singapore, not Finland, not Austria. I've done one of Poland, I've done one of Czechia, not Italy, I've done one of Denmark, I've done one of Belgium, I've done one of Germany, I've done one of France, I've done one of Wales, I've not done one of Scotland, and I've not done one of Portugal. I don't think I've done one of Spain, and I've done one of Northern Ireland. So go to my channel and look at them to save me the effort of linking them all. And unfortunately, we might not get to go on holiday this summer because of the coronavirus, which is very worrying. Not that we're not going on holiday, just the whole concept of the coronavirus. I'm not worried about dying, but I'm worried about getting it and then effectively killing someone by passing it on to them. If I don't know that I have it, because symptoms can take up to like 14 days to get to you, and you could be passing it on in that time. So we've just got to see how it goes. So maybe you might not see a video of me going anywhere this summer, fortunately. So on that sad note, I'm going to end the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.